so y'all better cook. I got big dreams, you walk talk, when I walk, that's that big drip. When I slide down your block, now they pissed off, like I really give a I got big sauce, so y'all better catch up.
What is the big old deal, man? We are back, and we got show boy Diddy, man. And yeah, surprisingly, even after all this stuff, man, it's looking like Diddy just might be going home, man. We don't know, but we're gonna find out. So make sure y'all go ahead and hit that like button, man. Let's go.
The Diddy trial went to jury deliberation this morning, and ever since it went to jury deliberation, there's been nothing but chaos ensuing. But in this video, I'm going to break down why I believe that chaos is actually going to work in Diddy's favor. I obtained the jury sheet of the official charges the jurors are being asked to vote on. So let's take a look at it so we can figure out which charges that we believe is going to stick and which ones we don't believe is going to stick. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy, is the most interesting of the counts because of the complexity that comes to racketeering. As you read right here, if you find defendant guilty of count 1, which types of racketeering acts do you unanimously find were involved in the offense? Now, that tasks the jurors with not listing 1, but they have to list at least 2 of the acts under racketeering that they believe the prosecutors proved that Diddy committed. And those acts are kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, or forced labor. So if they believe that Diddy, let's say, witness tampered but didn't do anything else, not guilty. But if they find that Diddy, let's say, witness tamper and, I don't know, did forced labor, well, guilty. So you have to prove or find him guilty on at least 2 of those acts. That's why I think racketeering is very interesting, because if, let's say, they come back with, yo, he's guilty of kidnapping and he's guilty of bribery, well, that sets the temperature for the other counts, because the other counts includes kidnapping. Some of the misinformation going around is people believing that Diddy can't be found guilty on racketeering because the prosecutors didn't list any co-conspirators. Racketeering means criminal organization. Diddy is head of the organization per se. Well, who were the people committing crimes on behalf of Diddy, and why weren't they charged? Well, the prosecutors addressed that in their closing statements, and they made sure to instruct the jurors, don't listen to these people telling you that just because there's no co-conspirators doesn't mean that there's not a racketeering going on. The prosecutors actually listed a name of people, employees of Diddy under his company, and they told the jurors, if you believe that these people helped Diddy commit crimes based on the testimonies you heard today in court or during this trial, then that's racketeering. It don't matter if those people weren't co-conspirators or they, didn't testify or, they weren't charged with anything. If you believe, based on what you heard today in court or throughout this trial, that these people helped Diddy commit crimes, racketeering, he's out of here. The 3 people they're listing as the unofficial co-conspirators are Fahim Muhammad, Christina Karam, and Damian D-Rock. These are the people they're claiming helped Diddy run the criminal organizations by committing crimes on behalf of Diddy or organizing crimes or recruiting people to commit crimes on behalf of Diddy. Fahim Muhammad, we know who he is, bruh. He's the dude who makes things goes away. That's apparently the dude when Diddy's son shot somebody, he showed up, made a crime scene go away because he got ties to law enforcement officials. And apparently he's the one allegedly who had law enforcement on Diddy payroll. So Fahim, we know he's been linked to the CIA for a while now, bro. He was Michael Jackson's head security guard, I believe, at like 21 years old. He was on duty when Michael Jackson passed away. Christina was allegedly Diddy's personal do-girl. She was involved in setting up the free calls, sending out payments to silence people. She essentially did Diddy's bidding, according to the feds, right? She was Diddy's do-girl. D-Rock, we know he was the muscle, bro. Security guard, he committed a lot of kidnapping on behalf of Diddy, allegedly, from what we heard at trial. So these were their roles. And they're saying, based on what y'all heard at trial, these people had roles in Diddy running this criminal organization. And if you believe that any of these 3 helped Diddy commit crimes, then it's a criminal organization. And they're also saying you don't even have to have an identity for the people that you believe committed crimes. If you believe that anyone helped Diddy committed these crimes, then it's a racketeering. The U.S. attorney dismissed Diddy's lawyer suggestions that there was no criminal enterprise because no one testified that they were a part of a criminal enterprise. This was their address to the members of the jury. This is from the U.S. attorney. The U.S. attorney stated, members of the jury, use your common sense and look at the evidence. Whether you're receiving a paycheck from a lawful business or not, when you direct other people to get or transport drugs for your boss, you're committing a crime. When your boss asks you to buy and bring him drugs and you do it, you're agreeing to commit a crime. When you go with your boss to kidnap another employee and make her take you to someone's house, you are agreeing to commit a crime. And when you lock your boss' girlfriend in a hotel room after your boss stomped on her face and won't let her leave, you're agreeing to commit a crime. And what the evidence shows is that over and over, the defendant and his inner circle agreed to commit crimes together. That's what racketeering conspiracy is. You don't even have to have a name, a face to this. If you believe that an employee helped Diddy do this on behalf of Diddy, then you have to vote racketeering conspiracy.
Okay, so what it's looking like so far, then I would say, as far as the prostitution charges and like the freak off, like all that stuff, right? I don't see him getting charged or being guilty of those things, because a lot from also what we heard during the trial is that a lot of these people consented on their own to do all these things. So I mean, but yeah, it was said that they're gonna still try to get him on the racketeering charges. So I don't know, man. We're gonna see how this
pretty much done set Diddy in a corner with this. That count one is gonna set the temperature. If it comes back and we hear not guilty for count one racketeering, then what we know is they either think that Diddy did none of the acts that he's been accused of committing, or he committed only one. That could be very good news for Diddy either way. If they come back and they say not guilty of everything, then how do you proceed and find him guilty on the other counts that includes some of the things that's under racketeering? But if you come back and say, yo, he's guilty of one thing, then how do you come back and find him guilty on a slew of other things outside of that one other thing? So let's take a look at the other counts so you understand what I'm talking about. If you look at the other acts under racketeering, you see trafficking, you see transportation for purposes of prostitution, and you also see drug distribution under racketeering. So let's just say he gets found not guilty on racketeering. Well, then you go to count two. If he's not guilty of trafficking, then he's probably not going to be guilty of trafficking under count two. Or
yeah, because the majority of them, you can't be considered trafficking, because a lot of them was consensually doing all these things on their own.
Transportation, which is transferring Cassie for prostitution under count three. Now, I'll be real. Even if Diddy is, let's say, found guilty of racketeering, I don't think it's going to be for trafficking Cassie. I think we heard enough during this trial to where Cassie was essentially a willing participant.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie essentially signed up for these freak-offs. She was scheduling this. She was paying for it. She was looking forward to it. There were times where she was texting, asking to do this. So I don't think, bruh, after what we just heard at trial, that anybody is going to vote for Cassie being trafficked. So I feel like for count two or three at least, is not guilty, which will make Diddy paying Cassie that $20 million all the dumber. If you went to criminal court and got found not guilty, then you probably should have just held off, right? If you were gonna get arrested, if you're gonna have your reputation ruined anyways, then why just give up that $20 million easy? She still came to court and testified against you. Right? You should have at least made her work for that $20 million, or take it to court, right? And take your chances. Now, we know people like OJ got found not guilty in criminal court, but guilty in civil court. So that's still a possibility, but Diddy should have at least tested the waters, bruh. Because if he's already going to get arrested, facing life in prison, she's still testifying against you, then what's the point? Count 4 and 5 are charges in relations to Jane Doe, which I believe is Daffy and Joy, 50 Cent's baby mama. From what we heard at trial, bruh, Daffy and Joy was a willing participant, bruh. She admitted that she did this because she wanted to, I guess, prove her love for Diddy. I don't see how that's trafficking. Now, is it prostitution? I feel like the transportation is up the mill escorts. They got transported. But if we're not talking about the male escorts, we're talking about Jane Doe. I don't see Diddy being found guilty of the Mann Act transportation of Jane Doe for prostitution. Because no, right? Like, no, because Diddy didn't prostitute them.
Mm-hmm.
He made them pay the male escorts. The male escorts, I believe, were prostituted. But the reasons why the male escorts are not being listed as a count is because Diddy made the women. They pay the male escorts. Those women committed crimes. This has to be a unanimous decision. So why
And he did that so that way it wouldn't come back on him.
right now is looking favorable for Diddy? Because right when jury deliberation began, it became perfectly clear that one of the jurors weren't following instructions, didn't know how to follow instructions, were not cooperating with the other jurors. In that particular case, all you need is one troublemaker. And if that person is gun-ho on not guilty,
Now, that's crazy. I thought it was a majority
last night
rule.
he used Hims.
Honestly, nothing better than when a guy breaks this out.
I seriously can't stop thinking about
Hims.
Hims.
Thank you for
That's definitely AI.
it's gonna be a hung jury.
We want to update you on this breaking news that is happening inside of the federal courthouse. Let's bring in Court TV
Imagine
legal
he get
correspondent
out.
Kelly Craft. Kelly, you have the latest on this jury note. It sounds like there may be already some infighting inside of that deliberation room.
Well, hi there, Julia. Such an interesting development in the federal courthouse behind me. So it was just around 1 o'clock. There started to be some movement, and we began to hear that there was a juror note. So, of course, when that happens, everyone hurries back inside the courthouse to hear what the note is going to be, what it's going to say. So everyone began to gather. It took about a half hour, a little bit longer for everyone to make their way back into the courtroom, the attorneys, all the parties involved. And then we heard what the note said. The judge read it aloud. We have a full screen made for you so everyone gets a chance to see exactly what the jury note said. It says, we have a juror number 25, who we are concerned cannot follow your honor's instructions. The foreperson then asked to speak with the judge or that particular juror be interviewed. So what do we know about juror number 25? We know he's male. We know he is a scientist. We know that during the jury selection process that he had told both sides that he had seen that hotel video in which Sean Diddy Combs is seen assaulting Cassie Ventura. This is inside the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. He had said that he did see that video, and he also said, Julia, that he had formed an opinion about that particular video. But then he was very clear that he was able to set his opinion aside to be able to go forward and have a fair, impartial look at this entire case. But now we're having a situation where this same juror now, according to the note that was just sent out, is not following those instructions. And so what did the judge end up saying? How did he handle this situation? He sent them back and said, you are supposed to follow the jury instructions, go back and continue deliberating. So that is where we stand right now, Julia, with that big development here in court.
That juror don't look like he's pro Diddy, but if he's pretty adamant that he can't be unbiased against Diddy and they're still forcing him to proceed, I mean, that could be cause for a mistrial later on, right? Or an overturning or an appeal. Now, this juror who told them beforehand he already seen the video with Cassie and Diddy at the Intercontinental, and he was judging Diddy for it, or he can't be non-biased after seeing that video, that juror was still allowed to proceed. But the juror who was residing in Brooklyn, but told one of the guards or somebody in passing that he had moved to Jersey after trial had started, that juror was kicked off.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Kicked off the jury. And that's the only juror that fit the profile of Diddy perfectly. Young black man from New York. And that juror was fighting to still be like in the jury pool. This is insane, man. I'll be real. This could be like a mistrial.
Hey, do y'all think Diddy? Do y'all think Diddy have been paying jurors, like the jurors, or what? Like what? You know what I'm saying? To get them to turn and like basically like make him not be guilty. What did y'all think?
Or something, man. Now, a note came back that gives me some hope for Diddy. Now, first off, as much chaos as possible always works in the favor of the defendant. Chaos means nobody is on the same page. Not on the same page means a unanimous decision can't happen. But now they're inquiring and asking the right questions. So they brought Diddy back into like the courtroom, and they brought a note from the jury. And the jurors had a question for the attorney general, the prosecutors, and the judge. And here is the question that I believe actually works in Diddy's favor. The jury had a question regarding the drug distribution count. And their question was, if an individual asks for a controlled substance and the person hands it over, is it distribution? Now, the reason why that question is very important, that shows the jury is deliberating over consent. That shows the jury is looking at all the evidence of Cassie asking for drugs, of Diddy putting Cassie in rehab. They're kind of looking at the free calls too. They're looking at Cassie asking for the free calls, and it looks like they're thinking heavily about consent. And if they're thinking about consent, that means this is not an open and shut case. That this is not a case where they believe that Cassie is at no fault and that she was this perfect victim that Diddy trafficked. No, they're looking at the details, and I believe that they will come back with Cassie was a willing participant. She didn't get trafficked, and Diddy did not distribute drugs to Cassie. Cassie sought out those drugs herself. The judge stated they will answer the question tomorrow morning, but that's an interesting question. If I'm already doing my drugs and you're right next to me and you ask, hey, bro, let me get some of that, please, and I hand it over to you, does that count? I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. Y'all let me know.
That is crazy work, man. What do y'all think? Like, y'all think Diddy gonna get up out of this one, man? And if he do get out of this one, man, ooh, it's gonna be bad for a lot of people, I'm thinking, because a lot of people turned their back on him. A lot of people turned their back on him, man. And yeah. So we're gonna see.
Every day it's like I feel more pressure, give more effort. Bill steady rolling in the due day crept up. Feel like I'm next up, life gon' test ya. My range close, aim, know the boy a heavy stepper. Things change, rearrange, ain't no crime body. Heart is weaving through the smoke, got my vision cloudy. Heavy stress on my brain, ain't no way around it. Navy SEAL when I flow, no you can't drown me. No